My dudes, it has been a hot minute, possibly too much time apart if I'm honest. While I thoroughly enjoyed my time away from putting in that YouTube work, I just also thoroughly missed you guys. I hope that you have been continuing to do so super well, staying hydrated, living your best life as best as you can during this not so easy time, and still checking in with your friends, your family, your heart, and your mind above all things. If it's your first time here, welcome. If not, welcome back. My name is Janae, and I typically post home decor and lifestyle videos right here on the tube, but today is more of a heart-to-heart, a little coffee date catch-up, if you will. Most importantly, this video is meant to just be a moment of pause and hopefully a warm hug for you wherever you are right now in this season of your life. I just wanted to take a moment to share a few life updates, where my heart has been, what I've been learning, and then to invite you guys to share some of the same down below if you would like, in the hopes that we could all help each other out, to not feel so alone, to maybe find new ways to cope, and to hopefully heal and grow. I also wanted to give a little baby update on my healing journey for anyone who has been around for a minute. If you haven't been around, this is still a safe space and you are absolutely welcome here. You'll be caught up in no time. I just hope that you'll sit back, relax, and we can just enjoy this time together. Also, if you feel any sort of connection by the end of this video, honey, definitely give your girl a little like and subscribe. Baby girl or boy, what's good? How have you been? I'd love to hear how you've been prioritizing protecting your mind and your heart lately with all of the darkness and just sadness around us in the world. Not to be melodramatic, but I know that a lot of us are all on our phones plenty and constantly are seeing some really dark realities. Waking up to horrifying headlines every day is extremely heavy, and finding ways to make the most of your days is truly challenging, especially if your people are the ones in harm's way. Just want to note that I realize it is a major luxury to be able to even seek peace of mind during these times. So many people do not even have that option because they are just trying to survive or get by. And if that is you, do not add any pressure to yourself to seek balance or peace right now. So the encouragement I'm choosing to share is not in any way an all-encompassing blanket that has the power to help everyone right now. However, as a Black woman, I can relate to having to find ways to still press on in the midst of chaos, anger, loss, confusion, and so much more. So I just want to recognize that and help you remove those pressures from yourself. If you're anything like me, it's hella easy to read about the horrors around us and to lean into hopelessness, to maybe not want to keep trying because is it really helping? To question how there could possibly be so much evil in the world, and the list goes on of things that can kind of bog you down. I know falling into those types of pits is super easy, but I also know that doing that is not sustainable, nor does it feel like living. And I don't have all the answers, but I have been trying to really balance acknowledging my sadness when it comes, whether it be from things happening outside of my home or things happening in my own life, creating spaces where I can sit in that sadness or just be cool with not feeling super posy all the time has been oddly comforting. I think by no longer ignoring when I'm feeling any sort of negative emotion, I've ended up having more contentment and more wholesome days in general. In a sense, my days have felt more authentic and true. Additionally, my heavier moments of depression don't seem to last as long either. And my hope is that you can walk away from this video with similar sentiments.
My days are cold now.
lady. Wow, we are way too sober to be acting like. Okay, I'm actually pretty jazzed right now to share a little update on this healing journey of mine. First and foremost, the one thing that has been the best game changer points back to something I used to be way better at in my younger years, and it's something that is such a fulfilling way to still feel alive and well even in the midst of heaviness, and that is simply pouring into those around you. Whether you are blessed with a few loved ones or a ton, setting aside time to uplift and encourage the people we are already blessed to do life with is that bitch. That is that main character energy, you know, just kind of pivoting from what's in your mind to other people. I think with this past year resulting in way less time with loved ones physically, it was really easy to not prioritize our kinships and our friendships in the same way. Perhaps we were all just equally emotionally exhausted and just didn't have that bandwidth, which I think is totally okay. However, I'm seeing now that pouring into those connections is actually what oftentimes gives me the strength to press on. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. R.I.P. Friday Night Lights. Practicing to choose connection over isolation is honestly everything, y'all. Even if you are like me and often feel really drained after any amount of socializing, if you are like that, I would say doing frequent check-ins on what you can actually handle during any given day, week, or season will really help. Hi, mother, what's wrong?
Relax.
Mother, you relax.
Mother, relax! You relax! Mother, relax! Relax, mother, relax!
All of that to say, I've been calling my friends and family members way more, making future plans to finally reunite, getting out in my community for larger causes, meeting new people, and even going on a few dates, honey, and have absolutely no regrets. Those moments and those phone calls are often what get me through the work week, and life is just too short to isolate yourself so much. I definitely spent the last year not only isolating myself because we had no choice, obviously, but isolating myself from my relationships and friendship by not picking up the phone and by not calling people back and by not checking on my loved ones. Last thing I'll say about this is it's also just so refreshing to not be so hyper focused on what's going on in your mind at all times, to allow your mind to just pivot from those me moments and focus on something else. Continuing on with my healing journey, I finally got angry, y'all, which is something that I honestly have a tough time doing. And if this sounds bizarre right now, I promise it won't sound bizarre in a moment. First of all, I just have so much respect for people who allow themselves to feel anger and not shame along with it. I've just always found it to be time consuming and unproductive in my personal life, but I think I was wrong for assuming that all anger is bad. I guess not all anger is made equal. I was listening to someone recently talking about their stages of grief, and now I see that it is sometimes necessary to explore that anger in order to genuinely move on. Just for a little context, for anyone who hasn't seen my previous video diaries, I spoke a little bit about a 3-year-long situationship that had finally come to an end earlier this year. An experience that took, honestly, all I had to finally walk away from, even though I had been ready for such a long time and I knew that this situation was not serving me in any way. But that reality of cutting someone out of your life and just suddenly not doing life with someone just hit me harder than I thought it would. Anyhow, in those videos, I was very much in the pain and depression stages of my grieving, and looking back, I'm honestly so thankful for that time. Those weeks and months of just being a sad girl and owning my sadness for the first time ever was really peaceful. I honestly thought that was the last stage of grief for me, and that I'd just wake up someday not feeling so sad and eventually move on. I thought sadness was like the last stage of grief. Then randomly, I stayed up till 4:30 a.m. one night listening to an amazing woman on Clubhouse pouring into other women, Black women specifically, and encouraging them to stop waiting around in unhealthy relationships with men who are not able to meet you where you are. She just was much more harsh and held nothing back, and honestly, it really helped me realize that I've always hushed my anger and chose to be more empathetic instead, just to avoid conflict with others and within myself. I think I thought it was like the nice thing to do, but no, it was like causing slow death and wasn't helping anyone around me, honestly. But now I see that my experiences are so valid and it's okay if someone's actions have upset me. Anyhow, I just let myself actually talk about being angry for a few days. I used the word angry a lot to kind of take some of that shame out of it. I recognized exactly what I was so angry about in the first place, and then I allowed Shelby and my mom to kind of validate that anger. And the craziest part is that after I allowed that anger to take up space, I felt so light, like crazy light. Looking back, I'm now seeing that time as like my little baby awakening. The heaviness that I'd been carrying from years of being in that situationship legit just fell off almost instantly after I just allowed myself to walk through that anger. And yeah, it's just been so great, and God bless anger. That ish really boosted me into another dimension. And if you're watching this and can relate to running away from your true feelings, whatever they may be, I hope this encourages you to find safe spaces for you to express what's really on your heart and on your mind. Moving on with more healing, a large part of my process has been centered around my relationship with food and physical wellness. Two things that I know are very complex and challenging for so many people, and at least a lot of us are not alone in that. I've shared a little bit on here about my relationship with food and how it has always been an emotional one since childhood, and then my relationship with wellness has been very all in or absolutely mother effing nothing. Okay, there has never been an in-between season where I felt at peace or found balance in my wellness journey. Everything was always so extreme at all times. However, I don't know what higher realm my mind has been taking me to or trying to take me to, but girl, I've been loving it. For the first time in my life, food is not constantly on my mind or hovering somewhere in my mind, whereas it used to be on my mind a little too constantly. I mean, I could definitely go hours without thinking about food when I'd be caught up in work or having fun with friends, but during my extreme weight loss pursuit seasons, I felt like my mind was working in double time. Make sure you eat this at this time. Don't you dare buy that bread. Avoid those carbs, woman. Just eat some almonds or a nice little rice cracker. And honestly, those thoughts weren't even just there when I was on weight loss journeys. They were literally there all the time. So yeah, forget that. And when I wasn't thinking about food in this way, I was just thinking about some craving I was having and taking forever to just overanalyze it. Should I eat it? Should I eat it? Do I avoid it? Do I avoid it? And it was just not cute. And if none of those things, I would just go on a strike and say, F all this. Life is too short. Eat the donut, sis. Unfortunately, when I would eat the donut, it would turn into eat enough until you feel physically sick, or I'd play this kind of ping pong game of indulging in whatever cravings I had every day. This would only happen after I'd have like an intense season of focusing on eating healthy all the time and intense limitation. Bouncing from one overeating session to another, yada yada yada, the balance was just nowhere to be found. Fast forward though to today, and I'm honestly afraid to say this because I don't know how long I'll be able to keep this up, but for the first time in my life, I don't immediately turn towards indulging in something to eat whenever I feel any sort of anxiety or sadness or even just boredom. Typically, food is my right-hand man when those feelings start to creep in, but hold up now. Wait a minute, I legit have had a hard time identifying why this lifelong habit has suddenly faded away a little bit, or a lot of it, and why it's been easier to manage overall. But as I'm writing this, I think some clarity is finally coming. Okay, y'all, hear me out. What if, because I've been allowing space for myself to actually feel what I'm feeling instead of smothering every negative emotion in everything will be okay, no worries, just keep going, push through, sis. What if because I've been focusing on letting those moments have their moment, there isn't much room left for mindless eating? Let me know, does that make sense? I'm sure that sounds hella simple, but it genuinely hadn't crossed my mind until this moment when I'm writing this letter to you guys. Along with all of that, I've continued to really challenge my language and thoughts towards good and bad foods. Instead, I've been focusing on seeing food for what it is. good, fun, made to nourish, meant to bring people together, a way to express how much you love or appreciate someone. Essentially removing any negative speak around different types of food, because I know for a fact my love of bread is not going anywhere. So I might as well figure out how to live with it. Okay, really, I've just been trying to create new habits that don't make me stressed about what I'm eating. Overall, I'm just accepting food for what it is, giving my cravings the respect they deserve, and not torturing my body by overindulging constantly or underindulging. Let me know if any of that made sense, or if any of y'all have ever experienced this more laid back outlook on food. However, if you are someone who is in the thick of those trenches right now, I totally feel you. I was in those trenches for my entire life, and I'm well aware that I may be in them again, depending on my circumstances. My hope is that you will just trust your process and believe that a brighter day will come where you feel like you truly understand your body and your habits better. The very last thing I'll say regarding health and wellness, I've been choosing to have the same mindset towards my body, that neutral mindset we were just talking about. I honestly just didn't think such a thing was possible because I was so used to being hyper aware of my body my entire life, and our society capitalizes so much off of women obsessing over their bodies, obsessing over other women's bodies. It's been more about a sense of accepting myself and my body no matter the circumstances. With that, I've been trying to just decenter my thoughts about how my body looks in general, because it just doesn't seem to add that much value. It's not that important in the grand scheme of things, as opposed to just, your overall health. Instead, I've been focusing on my relationships, my ideas, other people's stories, my hobbies, community, the world around me, and so much more, and just being a bit more thoughtful about the content I consume as well, challenging any internalized fat phobia that tries to enter my mind. When language about needing to work out to attain a certain figure enters my mind, I now question it and choose to pivot my thoughts immediately to more fruitful thoughts. When my mind tries to play those games and say I can't wear something because of my arm chub or my back fat, I challenge that shit. It's not welcome here, and I hope that you start to not allow it into your life. And then just to remember that my value is not found in how I look. It's really not. Focusing on simply giving my body good things that will hopefully add to my life experiences and expectancy overall has been so much more chill and much more enjoyable. I promise I'm wrapping this up, you guys. This is the last part, but just for daily life and mental peace, I'm not necessarily seeking that peace at all times. I'm now open to exploring my true feelings more often without judgment. I'm more so challenging myself to lean more into that which makes life worth living. Seeking out those moments that help everything else in life be much more bearable, choosing to prioritize activities that interrupt my routine but don't require a great deal of effort, such as going on morning walks, eating more of my meals outside, opening the windows and allowing in a nice breeze, trying out a new restaurant, attempting to bake a bomb treat, picking up the phone more to catch up with my long distance friends and family, making future plans for a small getaway, planning a small day trip, finding somewhere in your community to get involved, going on a scenic drive, finding a way to take your work outside, dancing alone in the mirror to SZA's unreleased song Shirt for an hour at 2 o'clock in the morning, exploring antique shops, window shopping just for fun. I mean, the list is literally endless, and it's completely unique to you, unique to your family, and unique to your community, and to what just brings you joy at the end of the day. Whatever it may be, my hope is that you seek it more, that you choose to isolate yourself less, that you remember life is really short and you deserve to fill it with that which fills your heart. Because the minute you wake up, the world is knocking at your door, baby. Your work, news updates, demands, responsibilities, and that isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but you can choose to interrupt those norms, and I really hope that you will. That is it for this little diary entry. If you made it this far, I appreciate you so much, and I hope that you found this helpful in some way or comforting in some way. You already know who you are, you know what you is, You the best, you the baddest, and I love you so, so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.